Hi everyone, this is KOIN 6 Chief Meteorologist Natasha Stenbach. Welcome to your KOIN 6 Weather Kids weather lesson. So today we're talking about the sun. Why is the sun so important? Well, it makes a day like today a great day to be outside, but it does a whole lot more than that. Let's go inside and talk about it. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me here in the KOIN 6 studios. Once again, I'm Natasha Stenbach, Chief Meteorologist here. We are talking about the sun today in this weather lesson. The sun is responsible for life on Earth. And in some cases, the sun also kind of guides our moods. Are you happier when the sun is around? Look at that photo. Lincoln City. This was a gorgeous sunset, and the sun creeped right underneath the clouds just as it was going down for the day. So we are talking about the sun today. Let's dive into what you can expect. If you're looking at the video first, be sure to check out the written lesson online as well. We highlight all the parts of the sun, as you can see right here: the core, the chromosphere, the photosphere, and sunspots. There's a lot to dissect, but we're going to try to keep it fun for you. Now, let's dive into the next section. The seasons. So if I were to ask you, why do we have seasons? Your answer could be the sun, and you would be right, but there's more to that answer. It's also the tilt of the Earth on its axis at 23.5 degrees. That gives us our seasons. So whether you're in winter or summer, there's one part of the Earth that's getting more sun directly than the other part. So let's dive right into it. So when we're talking about the seasons, let's start with spring. So we know the first day of spring is March 20th. The center of the sun is directly above the equator. And would you know it, all areas are receiving about 12 hours of daylight, whether you're at the equator or you're somewhere else on the planet. Look at that. Sun directly overhead. So here's what you need to know about this season. We know the amount of daylight is 12 hours. Something else that's pretty cool about springtime is, what's that? More birds? Do you hear more birds in the springtime? You start to see the grass grow or coming out of winter, and at least where we are here in the Pacific Northwest, we are, for the most part, wrapping up a pretty wet season and seeing a little more sunshine. And with more sun out, that allows things to grow a lot more. So that's the vernal equinox, spring. Let's talk about summer. So what do we know about summer? So the first day of summer, that's June 20th. That is when the center of the sun is directly above the Tropic of Cancer, so higher latitude. So the northern hemisphere is now getting more exposure, longer days. Southern hemisphere, they're having their shortest days. So Australia's winter is our summertime. So there we go, sun directly overhead. What else you need to know is that the amount of daylight. So the Arctic Circle, if you could be there at the North Pole, you get non-stop sun, 24 hours a day. Imagine that. Tropic of Cancer, 13.5 hours. Equator, 12 hours. Tropic of Capricorn, 10.5 hours. And the Antarctic Circle, no hours. You are in darkness at the South Pole. Can you imagine living at the South Pole or the North Pole when you're not getting any sunshine? It'd be pretty tough. So that's the summer solstice. Now we dive into winter solstice. What's your favorite season? What do you like? Well, the first day of winter is December 21st, and this is when the center of the sun is directly above the Tropic of Capricorn. So now your short days are in the northern hemisphere where we live, and the long days, southern hemisphere. So now it's Australia's turn to have summertime. So let's do a little quiz, just to see what your first guess is. So in the summertime, it's hot in the northern hemisphere. That's when we feel our hottest temperatures. So do you think we're closer to the sun at that point in time or further away from the sun? What's your guess? Okay. Here's the answer. When we have summertime in the northern hemisphere, the Earth is actually further away from the sun. I know. What gives? Well, what's important is the tilt of the Earth. The tilt of the Earth on its axis. So which area of the planet has more direct sunlight than the other? That's what matters. So here's a for instance. During the winter in the northern hemisphere, we are 91 million miles away from the sun. Okay? In the summertime, we are 94 million miles away from the sun. 3 million mile distance sounds like a lot, but considering the distance overall between the sun and the Earth, 3 million miles is not a really big deal. It doesn't matter too much. Again, it's the tilt of the Earth that matters. So, have you ever noticed during sunrise or sunset, sometimes the sky is a brilliant orange-red color? So why is that? Let's find out. So we know when it's noon, the sun is high up, usually in the horizon, especially during the summertime, and it's no particular color. It's just a blue sky. So what happens? Well, sunlight has further to travel to reach your eye as it nears the horizon. Look at that. So because blue-violet light have short wavelengths, they are most likely to be scattered by air and dust particles. So think about that. Your view of your sunset or sunrise, and by the way, don't look directly at the sun, bad for your eyes, but your general view, why is that? Think about wavelengths. You can't see the wavelengths, but what you see is the absence of wavelengths. So watch what happens here. Look at that. So as the distance increases, most of the light left unscattered is red and orange, kind of like a rainbow. You see different wavelengths coming through. But here, when we're talking about distance, the wavelengths that finally make it to your field of vision are the red and orange, and the blue and the violet are short. Red and orange are long. So that's sunsets and sunrises in a nutshell. So the next time you're out taking a picture, you can explain wavelengths to your friends and your family. Thank you so much for joining me on this lesson about the sun. There's so much more to discover. Be sure to go to the written lesson, koin.com/weather-kids, and join me again for another weather lesson in the future.